Good evening, Wheelchair sports fans. Welcome to another exciting edition of Wheelchair Football Tonight. I am Jimmy Anderson, and this is the final week of regulation season. Pasadena Wheelchair Football League football en route to the Louis Cantu Memorial Cup Tournament. In zones against the Hurricanes, both playing for a bye into the semifinals of the tournament. Here was the coin toss.
As what? Week 1, week 2, week 3?
Well, I didn't rep the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Are you repping NFL rules? Do y'all have any questions over the rules?
Yeah.
Questions over any rules?
Alright.
Zach McHouston, the referee.
Your way, loose home.
Chuck's calling the toss for the Hurricanes.
Heads, tails.
Chuck, ball in the air.
Tails.
Tails. Chuck calls tails. It is tails.
Hurricanes win the toss.
It is tails.
You kick it off.
You want to kick it off?
Yeah.
Alright, what side do you want to defend? This side?
End zone's about to receive the ball. Whoops. Bad toss there by
This
Moses.
is UFC, you're not start taunting already.
It may not be the UFC, but this would be about as an intense game as you would ever see in the PWFL. And we're going to kick it off with first half highlights right here. There you see Trevor McHouston there playing center for the end zones. This is Moses. Nice pass right there to Jacob Giberson into the end zone. They got the extra point as well. 7-0. It took them less than 2 minutes on the first drive to get the first score, drawing first blood. They have to win this game to ensure themselves a bye into the semifinals. We're going to go back to the Hurricanes right here with Johnny Martinez. Chuck Anderson looks like he's going to go long. It's snapped there by Kevin Seaman. Nice pass right there. It is caught by Mariano Rodriguez. He would put 6 on the board right there. Beautiful play. Heads up thinking. The other team probably thought he was going for Chuck, but instead he went for Mariano. He was wide open. Nice wide pass. We're going to go back to Moses Reyes of the end zones. All sorts of time. There you see Kevin Seaman being blocked off. Almost a sack, but Jacob Giberson would drive it up. They're close to the red zone right here. Now this would be the first fourth down of this particular drive. You'll see what I'm talking about. Nice snap right there. Passes it off. Josh Franklin converts right there. Or maybe not. Yes, he did. This would be the second fourth down conversion of the same drive. The Hurricanes are putting a defensive hurting on the end zones. Here comes the pass by Reyes. Oh, but Selvin Rodriguez got the penalty for pass interference. You saw his hands go up there in that crimson cloth, that dreaded crimson cloth flag. It was thrown down by Zach McHouston, who's repping the game right here. Third time would be the charm for the Hurricanes to try to stop the end zones. Let's see if it is the charm. It is! That time, Josh Franklin could not get the pass. Everything was completely legal about that play. Selvin simply stopped him. It would go back to the Hurricanes. Johnny Martinez with the snap. And there it is to Selvin. He gets and bobbles it a little, but Josh Franklin almost goes out. He does go down. Play stopped right there anyway. He was tagged. Now we're going to go back to the end zones with this play. Moses once again. Nice pass. Gets it to Josh Franklin straight up. Defense leaving a little bit of a hole. That would be the touchdown. That would break the tie. Or actually, it wasn't a tie. It made it 13-6. No extra point there. Hurricanes going to try to get back into its second half. This is where things kind of started to melt down for the Hurricanes. And here comes a nice pass right there. Now, he had that ball. And they called it. Yeah, but Selvin Rodriguez is arguing it.
Hey, check this out. Hey, hold up.
And there's no need to argue it because he had that ball. Selvin's losing his temper right here. He's got to be careful. Alan Montrose would also argue it, but he had full possession of that ball. There was nothing for Selvin to argue about. They got that reception. Zach taking charge right there. Johnny Martinez looking. Almost gets sacked. Nothing there. Now he did get hooked. Chuck did. Jorge hooked Chuck. They did get the first down. The penalty flag wasn't thrown that I saw. Maybe it was. Watch this next play coming up. Intensity is high in this game. They know that everything is at stake here. A win puts them in. Loss, they have to think of what might have been on Wednesday. Long pass coming up. Mariano gets it. You can't tell, but Selvin was being held. Yeah. Or rather, he wasn't being held. That's coming up here in a moment. I'm terribly sorry. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Now Mariano gets it. Selvin was being held. It was called. But watch what happens here. Now, you couldn't see it on camera, but Selvin Velasquez actually struck Jorge in the face. You simply can't do that here in the PWFL. That was an uncalled for move. Selvin lost his temper. I understand tempers are running high. Selvin was ejected from the game by Zach McHouston. Zach asking OZL to help out. Zach hasn't had to deal with an ejection of this kind before. Selvin would be out of the game. That was a good call by Zach McHouston. Had Selvin kept his temper in check, that the penalty would have stood. Instead, there were two penalties. Both offset one another. But you simply can't lose your temper to the point where you strike somebody. I have no disrespect for Selvin Velasquez, excuse me, but you can't do that. It's just not cool. There you see him in the red zone. Johnny Martinez pump fakes right there. Look at that. Mariano gets it. That would be the touchdown. Now, they would have to get the extra point to cause a tie right here, as you're about to see. And this was another case of not keeping your head in the game. You're going to see here in a minute. Now Mariano getting up to the line. Unfortunately, now you see him kind of jawing with Josh Franklin. Unbeknownst to him, he was offside. That negated the extra point. However, Zach McHouston made a bad call. I'll tell you what. In this case, they should have put him 5 back and let him retry the extra point. It should not have been an acceptable or declined penalty, but it was declined by the end zones. That made it 13-12. The end zones do have that bye into the semis. Later on, Zach McHouston would apologize to Captain Chuck Anderson for that call. Let me tell you, everyone's human. There's nothing, these things happen, especially in the NFL. They're bad calls all the time. But in any case, Zach McHouston really did a good job in that game as referee. Everyone played great, but the end zones were just more composed. As for Selvin Velasquez, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a suspension for that particular blow. He'll be back to play on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that later. But next time on Wheelchair Football Tonight, you're going to see another great game, another evenly matched pair of teams. In the Texas Thunder going against the Pasadena Wildhawks. Not a playoff bye at stake, but certainly seeding is very important. Until then, for now, this is Jimmy Anderson signing off for Old School Media and Wheelchair Football Tonight.